Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Spice and Wolf episode number 2 reaction. So the previous episode, it was the beginning of the show and we get introduced to the two main characters, Lawrence and Hollow. Hollow is like a type of a creature who is revered as like a harvest god, and people like worship her and everything. But as they like are passing, that faith in her, people's faith in her are lessening. But Hollow's still there in that village, keeping a promise that she made with someone, and like giving good harvest. But Lawrence found her, and like she decided to go on a journey with him. Even though it was like like at the beginning, Lawrence was kind of like not believing her. He thought that she was possessed or something. But when Hollow showed her form to him, he was quite terrified. But then he believed her, and in the end, Hollow was like, "I want to go to north, where my hometown is." And yeah, and that is where the journey began for like Hollow and Lawrence started on that journey. Obviously, Lawrence is a merchant, so he's going to go from one place to another, selling his goods, peddling his stuff, while Hollow will just follow him up until they reach our hometown. So let us see what happens in this episode, episode number 2. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's begin. All right, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Hmm. They don't have a tent? I guess, maybe. Nice and peaceful. She's underneath the belts. Okay. I'm still kind of impressed. I would say that she doesn't really feel anything, even though those are like fox spells. Hmm. Wow. Hmm. Various lies. Okay. Hmm. Any danger? Yeah. Maybe rain? Yep, she can smell it. Okay. Yeah, this is a thing. Like like animals can feel when rain is going to come. They can smell it and all. And I feel like sometimes like it's so strong that even as a humans, we can smell the rain. Like there's like a certain smell that it comes, and the temperature becomes cold. There's a certain smell in the atmosphere which makes you feel like, oh, it's going to rain. Sometimes it's so like Okay. Mischievous wolf and no laughing matter. Hmm. Well, oh, I see. Okay. Ah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Martins. True. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Disappears, eaten, burned. Oh. Okay. Ah. Yeah. Wow. A little longer. Yeah. Right. This. Yeah. Yeah. She'll have to put on her head hood. Ah. Okay. What would she have? Yeah. What would she go with? Hmm. Urines. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Didn't pay any money. Branch from the same trading company. Okay. No money. That's why he didn't pay nothing for the salt. Okay. Let's say contract. So barter, basically the barter. Hmm. Wait, wasn't the barter system that came first? Okay, I'll talk about this later. Lord. Yeah, she's sleeping. Right. Well, making connections is important as a merchant. Who's it? Who's this? Another merchant? Ah. Wow. Zayden. Hmm. Oh, he's using. Okay. Bro, what? Wow. Damn, she has a way with words. Yeah. Yeah, this dude looks shady as hell. But you know what? Yeah, we can at least listen to him. Goat cheese over boiled potatoes. What? Oh. Let us try. Hmm. Yeah, because they like eat most of the stuff raw. Hey yo, calm down. I see, interesting. Yeah, that's why she was joking. Makes sense. We have no cheeks. Ah. Oh, interesting. She's still eating though, and still joking. Well, I love how her tail fluffs up when she. Yeah, she did say that. What the? Smooth. The animator is so smooth. Yes. Okay. What about that guy? Yeah, yeah. I was going to say that merchant, rookie merchant. True. True. Okay. Silver coin that has been circled. Hmm. Kinds of other one. Okay. Yeah. Then increase the value. Yeah. Uh, he is asking for a share. That does mean that he might not be lying. Otherwise, why would he? Okay. I don't think like. Yeah, exactly. Why lie? Like it's a stranger. Yeah. Probably go with his guts. Like, I doubt he would have. Okay. Yeah, that's a good plan. Yeah. Interesting. He'll make sure if. Yeah. True. Yeah, but the intention. He now knows. Wow. But it's the matter of that whether you know or not. Like, oh yeah, okay, I know about it and I'm still doing it. But yeah, she is right. He was going to go through that process either way, even if he was lying or the truth. But now he knows and he's confirmed. So he can maybe do a better job of, oh, she's not here. Yeah. Oh, does he know him? What? Oh, yeah. Okay. Hmm. She knew them. I guess, yeah, she. Hmm. Not too good. Whoa, that's what. Okay. Perform such comedies. Damn. Hmm. Probably not. That is why she's having difficulties to keep up. Hmm. Well, there you go. Drop on her. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Well, time is money. Literally said that. Bruh. Yeah. Hmm. Sensing. Oh. That okay, interesting. Growth of consciousness. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Oh Lord. Hmm. Have. What? Oh, I guess within in his journey. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, like he must have gone through a lot. And that maybe that's why he was so afraid when Hollow showed her form. Even more. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. That's why they're so formidable. Yeah, I guess she is correct in a way. Well, yeah, I guess. True. Just like how he has his, you know, trauma. Hollow must have had her problem as well. Hmm. Okay. And there you go. That is it. That was today's episode. another really nice episode. So yeah, basically we get to see a little bit more, not get to see, but we get to hear a little bit more of Hollow and like Lawrence's experiences. We come to this little town and have some conversation with a few people. Here we meet a merchant who's kind of shady, seems shady, and he brings up a certain business proposition in front of Lawrence. At which Lawrence was like, "Yeah, what do you think about it, Hollow?" Because as Hollow mentioned, she's able to tell lies and truth. Now, okay, this is something that I is kind of interesting because as we can see, she like it's not that she can understand which is a lie and which is a truth. She just has a feeling if someone is lying or not. So she can say that, oh, the merchant, that rookie merchant, is somewhere, something is wrong, in his story. Something is like, he's being dishonest about something. While like what exactly it is, she cannot really say. I guess it kind of makes it, maybe it's like some kind of a sixth sense because she's a wolf. Maybe she can understand, like, or feel that, oh, this person is lying, because like there's a lot of ways you can like explain it. Say something like, you can say that maybe being a wolf, and especially she's like some, like, not only ordinary wolf, she's like a guardian deity or something, like some kind of a divinity. I'm sure her instincts are way more sharper than any type of ordinary wolves. Even though wolves themselves have very sharp instincts, she's way past that probably. So that is probably why, like, when someone talks, maybe she feels different things. For example, maybe their heartbeat, or maybe how they're breathing. Being a wolf, and especially like such a divine wolf, she can feel that even more. And if there's any inconsistencies in them, she can probably say that, oh, this person is lying. Because that's basically what lying is. Whenever you lie, unless and until you're like too used to it or something, you're definitely like, there will be a little bit of change within you. That's how, like, lie detectors work. So that little bit of change, be it like a little bit slight increase in your heart rate, or maybe like a little bit like increase in your breathing rate or something, the way you move your eyes and everything, these type of things, being a wolf, and that like someone like Hollow can like detect it in such a great, like, better way, that she can say that someone is lying or not. And that is exactly why she cannot say which one exactly is a lie, but she can say that they're lying or not. And I guess this is a good explanation as to how she does this. I don't know, like, maybe that's not the case, but I feel like that might be the case, why she's able to say. And it would make sense, like how she's able to do it, all of that. So, and at the same time, I guess it wouldn't really surprise me either if she just has this ability. This is like some kind of a supernatural ability she has. But if in a normal way, if I want to explain this, I would explain it like this: that, oh, being a wolf, and such a divine wolf, her instincts is way more than any ordinary wolf, and that is why she can detect any inconsistencies in the person when they're telling a lie. That is why she can say that, oh, that's a lie, or that's the truth. If in a normal way, I can explain it like that. Or it might just be that she has some kind of supernatural power. That can also be an explanation. Either way, that's like one thing we got to know here, and that is why Lawrence was like, oh, can you tell me whether this rookie merchant was telling the truth or not? At which Hollow asks him a few questions, which are very interesting. Those questions are quite interesting. First of all, she's like, if I wasn't there, what would you have, like, done? How would you, like, judge this whole thing? So he's like, Lawrence says that, okay, so if it is a truth, then it's all well and good. If this, like, whatever he's saying is the truth, I'll take up on it, and we'll make money. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if it's a lie, the merchant is deliberately lying, then he's like, then I wouldn't directly refuse him, but I would still say that, yeah, I'm in onto this, but I'll be more careful, and I will be researching on what's going on, what the actual truth is. And usually in these type of situations, at the end of the whole lie, there's always a way to make money. Because obviously, if he's lying, then that must mean he's lying for a reason. Most of the time, what is that reason? Extra money. Like they're trying to make some extra money on the way like by duping others. So that's why Lawrence is like, even if it is a lie, at the end of it, there is a way of making money out of it. So even if it was a lie, I would be like, yeah, I'm into it. But I would figure out what's wrong and then strike at the the opportune moment to get to reap on the benefits. Basically, that is what he's saying. At which Hollow's like, then you would have done this, you had only you would have done the same thing in both the situations. So there's nothing to hesitate, is it? And yeah, okay, that part was very interesting because yeah, she's right. He would have accepted either way. But I guess the only difference here is that now that Hollow said that yeah, he is lying, I guess the only difference is that now he knows that he's lying, so he can be a little bit more careful or something like that, or he won't have to he won't have to I was going to say he won't have to figure out the authenticity, because he now knows that he's lying. But at the end of the day, even if he doesn't have to figure out the authenticity of the merchant, even though he knows that he's lying, he will have to research on him, regarding why he's lying. Because unless and until he knows that answer of why he's lying, he won't be able to make money off of it. So at the end of the day, he will have to still research on him and figure out what's going on. The only difference here is that now he knows that, oh, it's right. Now he knows that, oh, he's lying. And my instinct was correct. Something like that. Okay, where is that part? Here we go. Hollow says, you are going to act like you're interested either way. So yeah, there you go. Right. Okay, so that was the thing. Now, so yeah, he, in the end, that's why he accepted it. And now he's like, well, we figure out what we're going to do on the way. Now he has to go to this other different place, and there he'll meet this guy again. So yeah, he will have to figure out something as to how to deal with this dude. And if there's any a better way of using his whatever he's trying to do, using that against him and resulting a profit from it. Okay, now okay, so here, that was that. Then the other interesting part of this episode is where Hollow is like, oh, wolves are she starts talking about wolves, and she speaks to Lawrence, and she tells oh, how wolves target the head, because they target on the heads of humans. She also says how she asks Lawrence about whether he met Wolf on his journey, and stuff like that, at which Lawrence kind of reacts. He's like, oh, don't don't say that, don't make light of this, or something like that, she says, at which Hollow realizes oh, maybe he has gone through a troublesome situation with wolves, and he had his own what do you call it, fear, or some kind of a trauma against wolves. And we saw that little scene where we saw Lawrence running from wolves, and his the people beside him all being caught and killed. He was a survivor, I'm guessing, and that is why he doesn't like talking about wolves and stuff. And I guess that is also the reason why he probably got so much more scared than anyone else would have when Hollow showed his form to him. Hollow did say that don't worry, humans beings are afraid of my form, but I feel like he probably got even more scared than any other people because of his already existent trauma that he has for wolves. And when that happened, Hollow kind of quieted down, but then Hollow starts talking about the difference between wolves and dogs, and she's like, the only difference between wolves and dogs is that like wolves haven't come in contact with humans, dogs have, and dogs are domesticated. And that is why the way wolves treat humans when they invade their territory is so different. We try to find any way to drive them out of the forests, and that is why we're constantly plotting, and we're so vicious and so efficient. And not only that, she also says that, which shows that, yeah, wolves also have a similar trauma against humans, how wolves get hunted, unlike dogs. And which was obviously her way of saying that, yeah, like, I'm sorry, but I also, like, I'm in a similar situation. At which Lawrence in the end was like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, because obviously, like, he can understand. He's like, like, just like I have my trouble, she also has her trouble with humans. And like, I'm traveling with a wolf, which, even though, like, Hollow is a wolf at the end of the day, so he's like, I'm traveling with a wolf, but at the same time, she's traveling with a human. At the end of the day, we're still strangers. We know nothing about each other. So just like how I might have my, like, grievances against wolf, and and how I might feel about the whole conversation, she's also in a similar position. She's literally sitting beside a human. One such human, like, like one, like, in her past, as she kind of implied, humans probably tried to hunt her. So she's in a similar situation, at which Lawrence was like, okay, fine. Yeah. And yeah, that is what happened in today's episode. So yeah, the main thing that happened was that rookie, like, the merchant. Now we have to figure out what, how we can, like, he's trying to lie to us, and we don't exactly know why he's lying and what he's lying for, but we need to figure out the reason. And if you're able to figure out the reason, then we can probably dig deeper and then find out the part where we can exploit this to make our own profit. And that's what Lawrence is planning, and that's why he acted as if he's interested, and he made sure that he doesn't like, fall into his trap, because when Lawrence said that, oh, I for now I don't have enough money, so I'm not going to be paying anything to you for now. So in that department, at least he's safe for now. But then we will have to figure it out, what we do with this person and how we deal with him. But that it's kind of interesting, because why was he even, like, what can I say, like, what type of reason does he have for trying to lie to us? Maybe, like, like, he, like, and what, like, for example, this is the thing, he talks about this silver coin, which, if we are able to use it to our advantage, we might be able to make a lot of profit off of it. So what even is he lying about? That's what I'm trying to think. Because, like, and here's another thing that I think, his target was probably that merchant, because he kind of talks to Lawrence, and he was like, oh wow, like, it's great that you were able to talk to him, and was able to convince him that quickly. Like, I tried to do it, but he wasn't even listening to me. And that's how he struck the conversation. So I feel like his initial target was that guy, but then he changed his target to Lawrence, because, yeah, he probably needed someone to jump in on this plan of his. Now what he's going to do, nobody knows, like, how he's going to trick him or something. But at the end of the day, it definitely has something to do with, I feel like he's planning on, okay, you know what, let me read that part. I need to read the whole proposition he talks about. Okay, here we go. So this was the proposition. Actually, mister, it is rumored that a certain silver coin that is currently being circulated will soon be replaced with coins that have a higher percentage of silver. Okay, so current silver coin that is going around will be replaced with another type of coin which has a higher percentage of silver. Okay, newer silver coin is still worth the same. So basically, even though it has more silver, it's still the same like value as the old silver coin. But the new coins will be worth more when exchanged for the currency of other countries. True, because even though here it will be like the same value, the fact that this has more silver in it, if we take it to other countries, they'll be paying us more than what we paid for, because it has the percentage of silver is more. I don't understand why would this even be a thing. Why would they do this? Like, why make a different coin which will have larger percentage of silver than it was before? It's like, isn't that like going to be harmful? Like, okay, here's the thing, I know nothing about economics, so I might be completely wrong about anything that I say. Like, I do remember, like I said, I watched the first anime. This show has a lot of economics, a lot of them. Like, you literally like talk about like the rise and fall of like like the prices and everything, a lot of things. And this is barely the start, as far as I can remember. Like later on, this will devolve into a whole like literally every single episode will have like at least half of it like them talking about economics and how to like manipulate the market and get more money and stuff like that. It'll basically be like that. So this is barely the beginning. So I might be completely wrong about a lot of things that I say here because I have no clue. But still, I'll try to at least make head and tails of it. I remember being extremely confused when I watched this for the first time. Who knows? Maybe I'm a little bit better now. Let's wait and see. Either way, so okay, what my thing is, that what I'm trying to think about here is, why would this country even do something like this? Like make like a new coin with more percentage of silver, but the values are the same. What point is there? Aren't you literally like like yeah, like, isn't that harmful to your own country? Like what is the point behind this? I don't understand. Okay, I could understand if they reduce the amount of silver. It could be understood and it kept the same like a rate, because if you reduce the amount of silver content and if you keep the same rate, you're kind of like the, I guess you could say the yeah, that could kind of help. I don't know, maybe. But why the opposite? This feels more harmful. So that maybe this is what, like, maybe this whole point that this rookie merchant made, maybe this whole information is a lie. Maybe he's trying to lie with this. I'm not really sure. Like, why would a country do something like this? Because just, yeah, as he says, that would automatically mean people will start buying a lot of money now. Not buying money, sorry, but like gathering a lot of money now, and then when the change will be implemented, they will exchange that for the new coins with more amount of silver, and then they'll take all of those coins to outside play countries and sell it off over there and gain a more amount of money. Oh wait, is that why they're doing it? Like, okay, wait a minute. No, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really. The only people who are benefiting from this whole venture is the merchants, who will be, not merchants, but any people who will be gaining, who will be making more money now and keeping them and exchanging them later on. They're the only ones who will be profiting off of this, isn't it? Because yeah, now they're buying it for the value, and later on when they'll exchange it, it'll be of the same value, but the amount of silver will be more, and they'll take it off and exchange it in foreign countries where they will get a bigger percentage than they paid for over here initially. So the only people who will be benefiting here will be these people who will be doing this whole thing. The country who is issuing this, they won't benefit in any way, because it's the same thing. They won't they're literally it's just, they won't be benefiting at all. Neither the foreign countries, because they're paying for what they're getting. It's not as if they're getting like some kind of a discount or whatever. They're literally paying for what they're getting. So you know what? Yeah, let's wait, because we still have to remember that this guy's lying somehow. Like something about what he said must be a lie over here. So yeah, either way, now Lawrence is like, I need to figure out if this actually is a good money making scheme, like, and he's trying to dupe me somehow. There must be something underneath it which he's not telling me, and that will be the key for me to gain profit off of this. So that is why he's, doing this. Okay, and yeah, and there you go. That was today's episode. Um, Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, Lawrence made that little pouch thing for her, and like she'll keep the wheat over there and dangle it from her neck, so that she can keep that to her. So there you go. Right, and that was today's episode. Now let me talk about this episode scene by scene, in case I missed something. I definitely have missed a lot of things. I'm just going to go through this episode now, trying to understand the sections that I probably missed while reacting. Okay, the very first section we get to see Lawrence wakes up, Hollow wakes up, Hollow is sleeping underneath those beds. Now this is the thing what I was saying. Like I was like it's so interesting that she doesn't feel anything while sleeping underneath wolf fur. Like she's literally sleeping underneath a material which her skin is made of. Like she's a wolf as well. Like that's interesting, like I don't know. Like at least for me it would be like, like if equivalent to a human, if you equate this to like what a human, like the situation would be for a human, it's as if you're sleeping underneath like skin, human skin. That'll be so weird, wouldn't it? So in that sense, she's kind of like doing something like that, isn't it? She herself is a wolf. She's sleeping underneath wolf pelts. So I mentioned this in the very first episode as well, but I guess it kind of doesn't matter to her because she's like a wolf. Like she doesn't have any type of like, I don't know, like maybe hesitation against this because she's used to, like I don't know. I'm not really sure. Either way, but like she's just have, but I guess at the same time it is quite warm, like yeah, she, as she says, like it's quite warm underneath these belts. It feels nice. So yeah. But still, the fact that she's a wolf and she's sleeping under wolf pelts, oh boy. Anyways, so Lawrence is like, oh, she kind of like talks about her fur is like the finest of all. She talks about her tail, which has like the white thing, and she talks about her ears as well. And Lawrence is like, oh, so like a mighty wolf like you, like what can like, right, like what can you do, like and she's like, my ears can hear any type of like, I can detect any type of danger beside me, or if someone's lying, I can say that. She says like my nose. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to read this part. Let me see. Okay, what? Here we go. My white-tipped tail is a source of pride. And these pointed ears of mine, my ears can hear the coming of disasters. There you go. Coming of disasters, and catch various lives. They have saved many a friend from danger. The wise wolf Hollow of Yoitsu is none other than me. Okay, so yeah, so there you go. And then she kind of is like, oh, I can smell rain coming, So there you go. And then they go to this place. What is the name of this place? Okay, anyways, I cannot find it. Either way, so she, like, Lawrence introduces Hollow as his wife, and the reason why she's putting the hood on, he says the reason behind it is because she has burned her face, so she doesn't want other people to see. So he goes in, and obviously this is Hollow. She doesn't care. She's just like taken off all her dress and everything. And I guess, like, this is the thing. I feel like it kind of makes so much sense why she's always, like, just running around without wearing any dresses, because she's a wolf. Like, she doesn't wear dresses. Now that she's taken a human form, she has to wear dresses. Wearing dresses for her is something that is unnatural to her. So yeah, that is why she just doesn't care. Yeah, because usually she's just like that, like, always running around naked as a wolf. And that's why she also doesn't have that shame, like, for, like, like that we humans feel when we see other people, or when we ourselves are not wearing any dresses. And she doesn't have that either. And I feel like she gets kind of amused seeing Lawrence always fidgeting like that, because, like, for her, she doesn't have that shame because she's a wolf. But she probably finds it funny. Lawrence is always fidgeting around situations like that. Right. Okay, so Lawrence asks her that whether the, like, the wolf pelts will fetch a high price. What about the wheat? What should he do with that? Okay, so Hollow says here, as long as I'm alive, the wheat will never rot, or, like, do something won't happen to it. I may disappear if it is eaten, burned to the ground. Burnt or ground down and mixed into the soil. Okay, so we have to keep the wheat safe in that sense. It won't rot, or it won't have any other thing won't happen, but she might disappear if it's eaten, burnt, or mixed to the soil. Now, I can kind of understand the reason behind this, is because that's the only amount of wheat there is. As she's explained, she lives in wheats. She, like, runs around in wheats. That is why she had to jump from that one sheaf of wheat to Lawrence's wheat. And also that is probably the reason why she was never able to, like, get out of that village. So she found her chance where Lawrence came in with the wheat, so she transferred here. But it is true that she has to stay in the wheat. So the only wheat that is here with us now, that is Lawrence's wheat, if it is somehow burnt, ground down, mixed to the soil, she'll disappear, because the wheat, will cease to exist, that means. And that's why she will also cease to exist. However, here's the thing. I feel like it might be different if we bring another, like I'm not 100% sure, but according to that logic, this would make sense. Is that if we bring another batch of wheat, which is more than this, then if we burn this wheat, or, like, ground it down, Hollow would still be fine, because she can move from this little wheat to that wheat. I think. I'm not really sure. Because that's what she did for, like, there in that village. She like went from that one sheep of wheat to Lawrence's wheat. Now that she's in Lawrence's wheat, if another, like, big amount of wheat is there beside her, she can literally transfer into that. And then if this wheat, something happens to this wheat, it's fine. I don't know, but I'm not really sure, 100% sure about it. But according to the way it's going, this logic would make sense. Okay, so after that, but threshing it and storing it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so you can do that. At which Lawrence is like, I'll thresh it and let us store the grains in a bag, and then I'll give it to you. Then Lawrence, like, mentions about how, not Lawrence, sorry, Hollow mentions about how Lawrence should take care of his, like, own self. She, like, I think she comments about his beard or something. Yeah, she comments, like, he's like, oh, your beard is kind of nice. He's like, oh, you appreciate this this beard. She was like, though I prefer it a little longer. Okay. She's like, oh, like this. Okay, no. Right. Okay, so after that, they kind of go out, not go out, but they, like, decide to, like explore the place. And Lawrence is like, keep your head, like, face hidden. Do not let them discover you. And she says, like, I am the wise will follow. Long ago, I always traveled in this form. Just leave it to me. but I would have never thought of it. Here we go. Hiding my burned face from the public. Okay, so she's like, then what do you think of? Such a burn would be part of who I am. Just like my ears and tails, it will be something that belongs to no one but myself. Yeah, so she's like, if it was a burn, I wouldn't think of it like that, like hiding my face because of a burn, because that would be a part of me. And why should I be ashamed to show, a part of me? Now, another like interesting thing this kind of makes us think is that it's probably because, like how I don't know, like how people will perceive them or something, or maybe because like it's probably because since Lawrence is with him, she has accepted to hide her tails and ears. If she was journeying alone, she probably wouldn't have done it. As she says, like, if this was me, I wouldn't have hid my burns. Just like it is my ears and tail, it is a part of me. But the fact that she's still hiding them because Lawrence is telling her to, it kind of like makes sense that she's doing it for Lawrence, because she knows that if she doesn't hide her tails and ears, Lawrence might get into trouble, because of this. And like she would end up causing trouble for him. And the fact that she's journeying with him, that's why she's ready to accept to hide her tail and ears, even though she usually wouldn't have done it. Something like that. Okay, you know what I love about this? Like, we were watching this anime. It's barely the second episode. The ear animation is so smooth. I'm like, what the hell? The way the ears move is crazy. Like, good God. Like 60 FPS movement. The whole, like, and obviously the whole anime is like 30 FPS or something. The ear animation is 60 FPS only. They decided to went full on. They decided to go full out on the ears. Good God. Right. Okay. Then after that, we meet this person. Lawrence is talking to this guy. Okay. Here's another interesting thing they have a conversation about is bartering. Like exchanging like goods in place of another goods. So, okay, I'm going to read this part as well. Lawrence says, I didn't pay any money when I purchased salts at the trading company in Yorens. Okay, that's because I sold an equivalent amount of wheat at a branch from the same trading company in a different town. So I'm guessing he probably like sold this wheat and he was like, oh, okay, I don't need any money. You just give me like a written, like, a note, not a note, but a written, like, like thing where you'll write that, this amount of wheat has been given to us, so you can use the equivalent amount in value to buy something else, and maybe like sign and like put a stamp or something and give it to him, like, and with an official, like, seal. And he's going to take that to another branch in another, like, place, and that is from there he was able to buy an equivalent value amount of salt. So basically it is like the bartering system where you exchange one thing for another instead of like using currencies or like money. I guess it kind of helps him to, because if it was money, then there would be like a fear of like getting robbed or something, and like that, and also the fact that like if it's a good amount of money, it'll probably amount a lot, and it'll probably be heavy, it'll be difficult to take it around places. So just a sheet of paper, like it's way better in that sense, I think. Okay, here we go. Because I received no money for the wheat, I paid nothing for the salt. There you go. In other words, 2 different sale contracts were completed without the exchange of money. And he's like, oh, how mysterious. This is called exchange rate transaction and was invented by merchants to deal with people in many different areas. Okay. And he says, like, I own a vineyard at the town of Perenzo, but I've never made a payment in such a unusual way. Do you think I should know about such a system? And he's like, oh no, it's unnecessary. As the lord who owns the vineyard, you just need to make sure merchants don't take advantage of you during price negotiations. Okay, so this part, like I said, it's interesting. So he says like he's never used a system like this before. So wait, I thought, as far as I know, this system was the system that came first, didn't it? This bartering system where you purchase stuff, not because at that time currency wasn't a thing. So they used to like barter, like, oh, this good I'm giving, you give me that good, and they kind of exchanged it. As she says, like the market rate transaction or whatever. So didn't that come first, and then there was the invention of currency and everything? Because at least I don't know, like that's what I have heard. So that's kind of interesting because like from his words it seems like he never did something like this. They always like use currency to but Lawrence is like, oh, this is way better in situations like this, which is true. As like we know, at that point of time, carrying that amount of money everywhere, it's a bit difficult. So the fact that you will be getting some other goods from for the same amount, why not make it like this? Like you buy it for this amount, and then like you maybe like they write you like a official note and use that official note to get the same amount of other goods. It's way better. Helps in traveling. Only maybe one sheet of paper you'll have for exchange, and there's a lower possibility of you getting robbed and stuff like that. Yeah. But either way, that's kind of interesting because as far as I know, this came first, the exchange thing. Then but anyways, I guess this is like going in a different. Maybe there's something else is going on here. Either way, okay. So then this guy's like, oh, like my wife is sleepy. Like let us go, and he kind of invites Lawrence. He's like, oh, when you come to this place, visit me, and yeah. And then we meet this rookie merchant, who's like, oh, like like sir, you're like you did a great job. Like I wasn't able to talk to him at all. He wasn't ready to listen to me. And Lawrence is like, oh, like back when I was new, same situation. So don't worry about it. You'll get used to it. Okay, so he's like, okay, so he introduces himself, and then he's like, oh, this is my wife Hollow, and she doesn't, Okay, so here this dude is suddenly, you're traveling together with your wife. You must really treasure her, considering how much you've covered her up. Okay, I'm sure God has brought us together for this encounter. We do take okay. I'm like, come on, man. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Personal space? You don't know that is a thing. I guess he's whatever. He is a shady person. Like like yeah, but still, like, what the hell? At which Hollow is like, a journey is the most enjoyable before one sets out. That is kind of true, sometimes. At first you're like, oh, like, I'm going to go here. I'm going to have so much fun. And then in reality, you're like, what the hell? Like, there's so many more, like, like, this is not going the way I expected it to be. And you're like disappointed. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the opposite might happen as well, You might not be excited about a certain journey, but then when you go for it, you're like, oh, I'm actually having fun. I wasn't expecting this. Yeah. Okay. Is the most frightening part of a dog is its bark? Yeah, I guess. I can understand that. And women look the most beautiful when viewed from behind. Oh my god. Uncovering a hood so casually can easily dispel the phantom. I feel like this is one thing I really loved when I watched the first anime as well, of Spice and Wolf. The way Hollow speaks is like an art. I feel like the way she constructs her sentences, and the way she kind of like, it makes sense. As she says, like, she's the wise wolf Hollow. She has seen a lot of the world, and she has a lot of experience that a lot of people might not have. So she knows how to construct her sentence so beautifully. And yeah, I feel like this is another thing that really attracted me to this show. The way Hollow like speaks and constructs her words. There's another show that is able to do this, and I absolutely love the wording or the word, like the way, like, the construction of the sentence or the story is told. Is that show is a Monogatari. And I can, like, and Hollow, the way Hollow speaks is very, like, interesting as well, because she's just, the way she kind of, like, this sentence, for example, as you can see, this thing, like, this whole thing that she says, I don't know, but there's such a, what can I say, like, a charm to that whole sentence that she said, you know. Anyways, like, I really love this part about this show, the way Hollow speaks in such an interesting way, like as if it's as if she's writing some kind of a novel, like, like a novel or something, like she's writing some kind of a novel, that way she constructs her words. Right. And okay, so after that, like, like that, after all that whole thing, Hollow comes back, and Lawrence gives her the sheaf of, like, the thing, the wheat, in the bag, and Hollow wants to eat, like, potatoes and, like, cheese, but she, like, almost chokes on it, and she explains, she's like, oh, like, like, we wolves, since, in a human form, it's difficult to swallow, because when, the food pipe is, like, narrower. Okay, where's that part where she says, here we go, the reason why she's not able to properly eat, or no, what does she say when Lawrence says, like, okay, how inconvenient, wolves eat their food without chewing, that is why. And she's like, well, of course, we have no cheek space. Okay, I see that. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. That's why they just chew like this a little bit, and just glug in the whole thing. And that's also why, when, like, I guess wolves chew, not only wolves but, like, any type of canine, they, like, food kind of drops from the sides, maybe, like, when they're, like, chewing like this, like, like it's like they make a whole mess of it. That is also probably why, because there's no cheek space, and that is why they swallow it like that easily. Okay, interesting. She says, I cannot take my time to chew. Yeah, because if you take the time to chew, it's just going to drop out from the sides. That's why they just take a big grub and, like, does one or two chew like this and then swallow. Right, that makes sense. I'm learning so many things. It's so, this is such an obvious thing that I never even thought about up until now, that she talks about this. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Oh boy. And she's like, oh, I've choked on potatoes before. Maybe they're not compatible with me. Okay, now here Lawrence is like, so you said that you can tell about lies. No, like, is that true or not? And so he's like, how much can you tell? How much of, like, like, at what degree? She says, more or less. Okay, at which extent? She claps like this. Well, to the point that I could tell, you praised my tail even though you didn't genuinely think so. Okay. Like I said, her ear animation is 60 FPS. What the hell? The way it's flapping. So, okay, she's like, I'm not right all the time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how she does it. So, because she's like a divine wolf or whatever, she can feel when someone is lying, like change in heart rate, breathing changes, maybe like eye movement and stuff. Like, she's more instinct in that way. She has a more instinct in that department, so she can tell. That's why she's saying, I'm not right all the time, though, but it's like maybe like an 80%, like, correctness rate I have. So, and she can feel it because of that. So it's not like some kind of a divine power she has. She just, like, uses her instinct of a wolf to figure out whether the people are lying or not. And it kind of makes sense. Okay, so Lawrence is like, what about that kid? And so he's, I love how she's like, who are you talking about? And he's like, that guy, that kid. And she's like, oh, like him. To me, both of you are kids. So I wasn't able to understand who you're talking about. At which Lawrence is like kind of pouty, and she's like, oh, but you're a little bit more mature than him, at least. Mentally. Okay. So Right. So here you can see they have this conversation about this guy. So like, so here is the thing. We get to know what he told he like what type of business proposition he had. So I kind of discussed about this in the very beginning. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit now. So basically, he talks about the silver coins which are being issued now, and later on they will be reissued, but the new silver coins will have more amount of silver, but the values will be the same. So in this country, it's of no use, it's the same value. But if we exchange a big amount of silver coins now, later on, if we exchange it, we'll get the more amount of silver in the new coins. Then we'll take that and exchange it in foreign countries, which will obviously give us more because there's more amount of silver in there. So that is the plan that he has. And it looks like a very good like business venture. But at the same time, and he's like, in exchange, how about giving me a share once you have made a big profit? So here's the thing. Here's the big, what can I say? Like the big problem with this whole thing. Like, we all know that he's lying. If he's telling the truth, then it's all well and good. But as Hollow says, and as I also thought, at that time, he's definitely lying. So what is the point of this lie? That is the question. Why would he even lie? First of all, like, we don't know him. It's not that he has some vendetta or whatever. So that's out of the question. We've met him for the first time. Then what is the reason is there for lying? If he's able to, like, maybe he's lying because he can make money off of us, but that also defeat, like the way he said that the whole business venture that he proposed, it also defeats the purpose of lying for that reason, because he says that give me a share once you made the big profit. So you made profit, then you give me the share. So it's not as if he's taking the money from him beforehand. So unless until he makes a profit, like, he won't get any return. So I don't think that is also, like, you cannot really trick him like this. Like, how are you able to, how would that make sense if he's lying for that to make, like, to somehow dupe him? Like, unless until he makes profit, he won't even get any share from it. So out of the question. The fact that he told him to give a portion of the share afterwards, not now. So what else? Maybe it has something to do with buying the money now. Not buying the money. So what am I saying? Maybe it has something to do with the coins now. Like, if Lawrence decides to go in, like, to go in this, like, like, business venture, then maybe it's going to you know what, let's wait. Let's just wait. Like, he's lying. It's obvious he's lying, but it's a bit difficult to understand now why he would be lying. And that's what Lawrence is also thinking. You can see Lawrence was kind of thinking. And Lawrence is like, I want to know if he's lying or not. And Hollow says it perfectly here. She says, like, so what is bothering you is not the lie, but why he's lying. So here we go. When one lies, this is literally what I was saying. Why would he be lying? There must be a bigger reason behind it. When one lies, the reason for the lie is more important than the lie itself, because it's true. Like, the lie is all, like, done, and it's over. Once you've lied, you've lied. But the main important thing is, like, why you have lied, the reason behind it. And yeah, and she's like, oh, don't worry about it, like, you're still a kid in my eyes. Yeah, and then he's like, so can you tell me if he's lying or not? And she's like, oh, like, if I wasn't there, what would you have done? At which Lawrence is like, if it was the truth, then obviously I would do it. If it's the lie, then I would probably still do it, but I would be more cautious, and I would try to figure out why he's lying. And after figuring that out, I would try to strike where the actual money is and gain a profit for myself. And Hollow's like, oh, then you would have done the same thing either way, So, yeah. Right, so there you go. Now, yeah, let's wait and see. Like I said, I tried to figure out, but I feel like I won't be able to figure out why he is lying. Like, the only thing that I can think of is that, like, if he's lying, and if he's lying because he's wanting to make money off of Lawrence, maybe the part that will profit him is the fact that if Lawrence actually invests into this whole thing. Like, how does this thing go? You have to invest money at first, then use that money and exchange it for the newer money, which will have a bigger amount, and then use that money to exchange in the foreign. So he says that unless and until you get the profit, you don't have to give me anything. That's what he says. He's like, once you get a good profit, you can give me a portion. So if he's lying, in no way he's making money off of that, because if there's no profit, he won't he won't get anything. So one thing I can think of is, like, it doesn't matter on what's going to happen later, but it matters on what's going to happen now. For now, what he wants is Lawrence to invest in this whole proposition. Maybe from that somehow he's going to get like some kind of a money, and somehow he can trick Lawrence into something else. Yeah, maybe something like that. It doesn't depend on late. If it depended on later, then his whole plan doesn't make sense, because unless and until Lawrence makes a profit, he's not going to get anything. So how can he trick him in that way? If he gets a profit, then he'll get his share. If not, then so that's what I'm thinking. I feel like what matters is the first part, the investment. Maybe in there's some kind of a problem, which he's probably going to use against Lauren, and probably like trick him somehow and make money off of him. That first part, the investment part, is where it's probably you know what, let's wait and see. Then we get to see, like, then they go to sleep, and the next day Lawrence comes out and he sees that Hollow is with the priest over there, and he was listening to his his speech, his talkings, his sermons, and yeah. Okay, a few other interesting thing Hollow says here. Okay, she talks about the church. She's like, it's interesting hearing the church's viewpoints and everything, because back then the church wasn't like this. And he says, like, at least they did not say exaggerated things like the one true God created the world and we are merely borrowing it. Nature cannot be created by someone. It made me wonder when the church began to perform such comedies. Right, interesting, such an interesting line. So she's like, yeah, nobody can create, stuff like that. How can the church say something like this? And she's like, a lot of things have changed, at which Lawrence is like, oh, don't worry, I'm sure your hometown hasn't changed, just like how you haven't changed either. And I was like, wow, you're comforting me, the wise will follow. Right. Anyways, later on, Lawrence goes and talks to this rookie merchant, and he's like, I have no funds until I exchange my furs for money, so I cannot give anything now. And he's like, oh, it's fine, let's meet up in the port town of Pazio and drop an official contract. Right, so he'll do something here, I feel like. Let's wait and see. This contract will probably have something, you know what, let's wait. So he goes off first, and like Hollow's like, why don't you guys go together if you're going to the same place? And he's like, oh, because walking will be far faster than traveling by carriage, and and that's why he's going on ahead. And Hollow's like, oh, you merchants. Another very interesting thing. So many things, interesting thing that Hollow says. Like I said, I'm going to read this section again. This is another very interesting thing she says. Hollow says that you guys are very particular about time, and he's like, oh, time is money, and she's like, oh, that's an interesting phrase. Time is money, huh? Okay. Lawrence says the farms you've watched over hundreds of years are also particular about time. What are you paying attention to? They're not particular about time, they're particular about sensing things. Okay, he's like, I don't understand. What does that mean? For instance, they awaken when they sense daybreak, pull weeds when they sense the afternoon, rejoice the budding sprouts as they sense spring, enjoy the growth of crops as they sense summer, celebrate the harvest as they sense autumn, wait for spring as they sense winter. They do not care about time. It is the same for me. Okay, interesting. That is such an interesting, like, I think I can understand what she's trying to say. So she's basically saying, like, I can understand, this line, what she says, like, it is the same for me. Because for her, I can understand, like, she is a long living creature. For her, time doesn't matter. But for her, what does matter is sense. When you sense something, like, that is why she talks about time and sense, how it differs. And when Lawrence said that they're particular about time, she's like, oh, no, they're not really particular about time. They're particular about the sense. When they sense something, like, like, as if, like, they sense spring, they, like, as she says, like, that whole section that she says, I can understand that about Hollow, because, she is a creature who really doesn't care about time. So, but it's interesting because she says, like, that's the same for the villagers as well. Okay, wait a minute. Let me read that part again. They're not particular about, they're particular about sensing things. Sense daybreak, they pull weeds when they sense the afternoon. Yeah. They do not care about time. It is the same for me. Your mind is quick, but you lack experience. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to understand this. Like I said, I can understand Hollow not caring about time, but I guess she's probably talking about. Wait a minute. Like I said, like, since Hollow is a long-living creature, time doesn't matter for her. It's the sense or that she's feeling, and that but she says that's the same for the villagers as well. But the villagers aren't really long-living creatures. Maybe she's talking about the oh, wait. Yeah, you know what? I feel I can understand what she's trying to mean here. She's probably trying to say that it's just what someone's instincts tell them. That's how they do their things. When Lawrence says that they're doing it because of time, the particular type of particulate, she's like, no, it's not that doing it because of time. For example, they get up when they sense daybreak. So for them, like, it probably shows, like, like, because time, like, the way Lawrence talks about time here, it is something that's like a shackle, because, oh, it's time to do this, it's time to do that. But what Hollow is saying is that it doesn't act as a shackle for the villagers. They do it when they feel like, when they sense it. So bringing time into this equation is wrong, because it's not a shackle for them. For them, they're doing it when they feel like, like, something is going to happen. So when they feel like it is morning, they wake up, like, during daybreak. When they feel like, like, it's like going to, like, like, they start sowing the crops, like that's how they do. Unlike Lawrence and, like, others who talk about time, and being like, as soon as you start talking about time, it becomes a shackle, like, oh, this time you have to do this time you have to do that. Unlike Hollow and the villagers, who more or less leave it to their instincts. I don't know. Is that what she's trying to say? I'm trying to figure out the deeper meaning behind this statement. But this is all I could think of. I might be wrong, but yeah. Okay. So after that, she talks about wolves. Um, okay. She's like, you know why wolves attack like humans? He says that it is because we wish to eat their heads and gain their power. Right, and she says, "I have not been attacked by a wolf," and he's like, Lawrence kind of remembers it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're very formidable." That's because they have eaten many other humans and gained their. And when she was saying that, Lawrence is like, "Oh, like don't like talk about this lightly." And you can see there's like a certain scene in his past where probably he went through something like this, and he's kind of not happy about discussing about stuff like this. At which Hollow kind of like like quiets down and kind of like sad. And later on, Lawrence also says that like don't say stuff like this from here onwards. And later on in the journey, you can see Hollow says that, okay, wolves have only lived in the forest while dogs have lived besides humans before. That's the difference between the difficulty of wolves and dogs. Wolves have only been hunted by humans. Humans are a source of fear for us, and that is why we think about how to best humans when they enter our forests. Yeah, and he's like, does that mean you've also? And she's like, there are things that even I refuse to answer. And then she's like, oh, so then we are, okay, like, yeah. And there you go. And at night, she kind of says something like, both of us have lived in very different worlds. And that's where it ended. So, yeah, like that final conversation, like Hollow was like, yeah, like the reason like behind why wolves are like this is because like people hunt us, unlike dogs who have stayed beside humans. That is why we are so much more formidable, because we are constantly thinking of how to best humans, and that is why when they come in our territory, like we are so vicious. And at which obviously Lawrence realizes that maybe she has gone through her fair share of trouble against humans, and that probably made Lawrence realizes that just like how I'm going with her, a wolf, she's also going with me, a human. So like these type of things, since I'm uncomfortable with these, she's also has her own uncomfortable thing. So it's not just me, you know. So yeah, I guess that's what she kind of thought, and was like, yeah, you know what? Okay. And that is where it ended. So yeah, great episode. Like I said, this show has a lot of things that you need to think about. A lot of the statements that Hollow says, especially, has so much more symbolism and double meaning to it. And yeah, it's very interesting. And I really like how he constructs her sentences, how she speaks, and as if she, like I said, her way of speaking and everything seems as if someone's writing a novel. And it's such an interesting way she expresses her opinions and everything. um and then not only that, like I said, like Hollow's, a lot of things that Hollow says has multiple meanings, and it's kind of something like that. Right, so you know what, yeah, let's like, there's one part, like I said, there was only one, like everything else I could kind of understood. There's only one section that I feel like I can get, like I'm still not really clear about, is where's that part. um yeah, that section where she talks about time and instinct. So like I said, what I think is like, that is like she was talking about time being like a shackle or something, while they are like more as if like working on their instincts. That is the difference she made, like she kind of talks about here, maybe because that section definitely has a deeper meaning to it than maybe I'm able to understand. So you have, if you have like a better way of explaining that section and have a better understanding of that, let me know. Because yeah, like, and this might happen later on in the future as well. Like I said, this show is actually a bit, like, I guess you could say, when I watched it for the first time, I felt it a bit difficult to understand at certain parts. And this might happen later on as well, even though now I'm a lot better at understanding, and like a lot of things I understand better in anime. Still it might be like a few sections might be a bit difficult to properly understand. Like, you can understand what they're saying, but like I said, Hollow has a lot of things that have like deeper meaning behind it. So it might be difficult to like get to that deeper meaning. So you can let me know in the comments, unless and until it's a spoiler. No spoilers, please. But unless and until it's a spoiler, you can let me know in the comments about the deeper meaning behind something maybe that I haven't understood or I wasn't able to get. Or maybe if I'm understanding something wrong, you can correct me down. So yeah, so there you go. That is it, guys. Oh my god, this became a long video. I feel like from here onwards, these videos will be long because like these type of shows, like there's a lot of things to talk about. Right, and especially like shows which are like heavy on dialogue like this, it's a lot of things to talk about. So expect like long videos from here onwards. Right, so thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, I'll check them out. That is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Spice and Wolf. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.